Welcome back to the Marvel Movie Minute, a daily podcast which we disassemble a film from the Marvel Cinematic Universe into 1-minute segments and then examine it in obsessive and occasionally hilarious detail. I'm Kyle Olson from the Swashbuckling Ladies Debate Society podcast.
Hey, and I'm Rob Cabasco. And Kyle.
Yes, sir.
Do you believe in aliens?
Do I believe in aliens? Well, are you talking about illegal aliens? Because
No, I got to tell you this. Tough question.
It is a tough question because there's a lot of evidence that goes both ways, and it's also, I guess I'm not arrogant enough to think we're the only ones who made it to the top of the thing. Like, it's a big universe, and we're all really puny. We're just tiny little specks about the size of Mickey Rooney.
Okay. Oh, Mickey Rooney. We got a Mickey Rooney reference.
That's actually a shout out to Animaniacs.
That's amazing. Okay, that's awesome. Now I got to tell you something. As I'm getting older, I'm tending to think that there are no aliens.
Oh,
and I don't know where this is. Well, there's a couple of reasons where this is coming from, but here's what I want to talk about: the Fermi paradox. So the Fermi paradox is a sort of posing the question of why is there a contradiction between the lack of evidence for extraterrestrial civilizations and the high estimates for their probability, like what you just said. Mm-hmm. One of the most well-known probability equations is the Drake equation. It was created, I think, in 1961, and basically taking all of the stuff that we know about the size and depth of the universe, it was the theory that we should have received 10,000 messages by 1961 from alien civilizations. When you think about the number of suns, the number of inhabitable planets, there probably is all this stuff that is part of this.
And he did all those calculations while he was in his feelings. So that's... Oh, different Drake? Okay, sorry.
Different Drake.
Go on.
Oh my God, that's amazing. All right. So Fermi paradox is again, he looks at all this person who did this, and the billions of stars in the Milky Way, similar to the sun, high probability. And after he did all this stuff, he came up with 3 possibilities of what's happened. 1, we've missed each other. 14 billion year old universe. Who knows? You know what? Civilizations miss each other. They rise, they fall. What happens, right? 2, they're already here, which, I mean, that's another podcast. That's not this one.
Yeah, that's right. The truth is out there.
It's out there. It would explain a lot of things, but whatever. And then there's the third option. We're it. I mean, and obviously you can read a lot of stuff. I mean, there's been a lot of very scientifically minded journals that have talked about the more we're learning about the universe, we may be it, right? So who knows, right? All this stuff's going on about this. Why do I bring this up? Not just to have an existential conversation about our place in the universe. The person who came up with this is Enrico Fermi. He was an Italian-American physicist and the creator of the world's first nuclear reactor, which was the Chicago Pile 1. He is the father of nuclear, the architect of the nuclear age. Yes, Einstein and all of the great scientists that we know of. Yes, all part of the building blocks for all this. Fermi is the one who made it work. Like, actually was able to show that, we can do this and everything that comes after that. A giant in the whole
practical, not theoretical.
No, exactly. Practical application of these theories. He received the Nobel Prize in Physics at the age of 37. Well done, sir.
Yeah.
So that's a long way around to go from aliens to the Nobel Prize to nuclear reactors. But you know where nuclear reactors come in the following minute that we're going to talk about.
Because that's just how we roll here in mid-68 of Iron Man 2 from 2010. A lot of O's in 2010. Directed by Mr. Jon Favreau. So we back at where we left off, which is right in the transition. So there's like I don't know what, 10 frames of Rhodey, like
Rhodey turning around, looking back.
What have I done?
Well, what have I done? And then looks back at the suit and goes, maybe I should just hop in it and take off.
Take for a little flight, take a little flight.
Go back to wherever I went over the night between leaving Tony Stark's house and coming here. Maybe I should just go back there.
Go back and visit some of those people I did. Like have those another adventure like I had in those missing hours.
Rhodey's Big Night Part 2.
Road Trip.
Jeez, can you? Oh, that's a what if episode. Another what if episode.
That's right. We need like a spin-off series maybe of like filling in the cracks, all these little things that happen in between. So after that, then we transition, and we are back at stately Stark Manor. But stately Stark Manor isn't quite so stately anymore because the windows all got blown out. So
Trashed.
it looks like we see Nick Fury and Tony Stark are chilling, maxing, relaxing at the place where the kitchen was. Because like the windows are all blown out, and
where the windows are
put
blown
a couple
out,
of
right.
deck chairs.
I think this is where the fruit tray and the ice sculpture was.
Yeah,
That's where they are.
okay. So it's got still damaged for that thing, and no one seems to be doing anything to repair it. Of course, it was just yesterday, so I mean,
Right.
contractors don't work on your schedule; they work on their schedule. And obviously he's been a little busy getting donuts and stuff. So this is because this is later that same day, like this is happening here. So. We're catching up in the conversation that's already going on. So Nick Fury says, that thing in your chest is based on unfinished technology. Like, oh, okay. And Tony says, no, it was finished. It has never been particularly effective until I miniaturized it and put it in my... And he said, no. Howard said the arc reactor was the stepping stone to something greater. He was about to kick off an energy race that was going to dwarf the arms race. He was onto something big, something so big that it was going to make the nuclear reactor look like a AAA battery.
Wow.
And that's news. Like, it
Right.
seems like that's news here and going forward, because this is never referenced again. Like,
this whole
Yeah.
not only just the relationship between Howard and Nick Fury, or just everything.
Yes, that we're
Right.
going to get into that, because like obviously this goes on for a while. So we're going to talk about
Gotcha.
Nick and Howard sort of in the next episode, because this conversation goes on. There's a lot more stuff in there, but the power thing, like about
Right.
that he wanted power, like we're going to see a lot of Howard Stark from this point forward. Like
Right.
we're going to see him in World War II, and we're going to see him in the 70s. We're going to see him in the 80s. Like we're going to see all these different things. And they never mentioned that he was interested in power at all. It's weird. Like, I mean, I know that this was very much the beginnings of this kind of stuff, but it's like this is like a plot line that is a huge fundamental thud of a thing that happens right here in Iron Man 2 and is never referenced again in the rest of the MCU.
So, okay, question.
Unless I'm
that.
wrong, in which case, contact us and let me know, because of all the things I've seen, I don't remember Howard Stark ever talking about power,
Right.
in terms of like giving power to the people at all. Like, as Howard Stark now being portrayed as Nikola Tesla.
Well, I'm going to reference one of my second favorite Val Kilmer movie of all time, The Saint, where the whole plot of that movie is a cold fusion, and
Yes.
the power, basically this ability to give people free, never-ending power.
Is your first? Wait, hold on. Let's aside for a minute here. Put a pin in that.
Right.
Is your first favorite Val Kilmer movie Real Genius or Tombstone?
It's Tombstone.
Oh, it's Tombstone. So
It is Tombstone.
So you put The Saint above Real Genius.
Yes.
Interesting.
I love The Saint. I can't tell you. I think we talked about this.
I'm
in
not
season
judging.
2.
I mentioned that because for me, The Saint would be like 5.
I know.
I'm not against it. I'm just saying,
No.
like, he's done a lot of really, really good stuff.
I know he has.
The Saint.
There's something about The Saint that just totally has my heart. I love that movie. I just.
Well, I think Sylvester Stallone's finest movie is Judge Dredd. So what are you gonna do? Everybody's got their own weird, controversial opinions about the movies they like.
That's cool. No, that's I just dropped that out of nowhere.
You can have your Rambos, you can have your Rockies, but there's Judge Dredd, and then there's First Blood. Those are the two best Sylvester Stallone movies.
And
but
then
he actually is an MCU actor, so we can talk about him technically on this show.
Well, and then of course Demolition Man, and then The Specialist. So,
Specialist? Did you say Specialist? I'm with you on Demolition Man, 100% on Demolition Man, but Tango and Cash would clearly go above The Specialist.
Dude, everything goes above The Specialist. Jesus, oh my God, that movie. All right. So
let's get back to the Marvel movie.
Let's get back to this. So no, this whole thing about power. Okay, so here's my question then. Are we, because I agree with you, I don't think this is ever really revisited again, like this whole thing of power. So there's two things. Is that just are we making too much of it? Is that maybe what his point is that, hey, in all of this amazing stuff that Howard Stark was doing, this was an unintended discovery of this And then yet we all realized, well, yeah, this would change the world, right? Like in our pursuit to do B, A turns out to be the crazy thing, right? Is that what this is?
We're not making too much of it because of a little film called The Avengers. Because the central premise of The Avengers is for the character arc, he's trying to create a power system. He takes Stark Tower off the grid so that he can create. He is in and so then there's also a big discussion of why is S.H.I.E.L.D. want to be in the energy business. There's a whole thread about this stuff. And then that also goes away.
Because it gets fixed. Then everybody's got.
Well, but what happened to Tony Stark's plan to give power to the people?
It happened. They did it.
It happened in the blip.
In the blip.
Well, he was like starting a family. He's like, oh yeah, so like there's less people now, so less power to go around. So like I can take 2 arc reactors and cover the whole country now. With like half the population gone.
They sell arc reactors on Amazon. You just buy one. You plug it in your home.
Wasn't a part of the conversation. Like people were too depressed to talk about how easy power was at that point.
It is kind of
no stadiums to run, so
Yeah, see, there you go. I don't know. No, it is
power.
Weird though.
It's about power.
It does. Because it does it. I mean, it is not revisited. No. I don't know. So okay. So here's the other theory. Then, if we're not making too much of it, is this just a plot device that had no end?
What?
Okay. Yeah.
Hold on. Did you just admit that there's a weakness in Iron Man 2? That they just put something in here just because they're like, I don't know. We
admit that there are things in this movie. I still enjoy it.
Fully admit? When have you fully admitted?
I fully admit that there are dangling threads. In a few places.
From this point forward, I'm going to need big flashing signs when you fully admit that there's a problem with it, because they have been very subtle to me, and I'm sitting across from you, virtually speaking.
I'm still having fun. This is a very nice conversation. I don't know what they're drinking. It's some sort of mineral water in a blue bottle. That's all I got.
So as the conversation goes on, then Tony says, just him or Anton Vanko in on this too. So it's like, oh, okay, let's not forget about that. So Fury says, Anton Vanko is the other side of that coin. Anton saw it as a way to get rich. When your father found out, he had him deported. When the Russians found out he couldn't deliver, they shipped his ass off to Siberia, and he spent the next 20 years in a vodka-fueled rage. Not quite the environment you want to raise a kid in. The son you had the misfortune of crossing paths with in Monaco. That's
well done.
That's well done right there too. But it's also interesting how, I don't know, it's like Fury is saying this as if he was there when he was not.
Right.
So it's sort of like, how old are you playing that you're supposed to be? Then Tony says, you told me I hadn't tried everything, which once again, like, I feel like there's a lot you could unpack from that thing, but Tony's just moving on. You told me I hadn't tried everything. What do you mean I haven't tried everything? What haven't I tried? And then this is a weird edit, because it seems like more conversation happened here, that they're just like, that's boring, because these are long 3 minutes of just like people sitting and talking.
Right.
So Fury says, he said that you were the only person with the means of knowledge. Well, what? Hold on. What? What are you even talking about? Like, Tony says, what do you mean I haven't tried everything? What haven't I tried? And Nick says, he said you were the only person with the means of knowledge. What?
Yeah, that's
like, what conversation are you in, Nick? Because what? Like, okay, so let's assume that he means Howard.
Right.
Howard said you were the only person with the means and knowledge, and that's where the minute ends, unfortunately, with the sentence. But like, what? It's a weird cut right there.
Well, I'm curious
to see what's missing.
Now let's take it on face value. Let's take what is in the.
Nick is just going to be like, I'm just going to say whatever I want and not listen to what you say at all.
Well, yeah, that's true too. Okay, first of all, you do make a really great point is. When Nick explains the whole thing about Anton Vanko, because obviously what Tony Stark is doing here is looking for reasons to hate his dad more, right? I mean,
of course,
he's already got father issues.
He's got dad issues. He's got a chip on his shoulder.
Exactly, and the whole Anton Vanko thing has obviously made him doubt even his father even more. He says that Nick kind of gives him starts to defend his dad, for lack of a better term. And I actually like the way the cut is where Tony just ignores it because he's like, no. Don't you try to soften my heart. No. I want the memories of my father to be as horrible as they are, right? Because like that's kind of what I think that's what the implication is. So on the surface, I can take that is an awkward transition in the conversation where he just blows it off, and I'm okay with that. But yeah, the whole thing of going from I tried everything, what else is there left for me to do? How could he have said when we and look at spoilers, we know where Tony Stark is at the time that his parents die.
Yeah.
Did his father? I mean, I guess the assumption is that his father, even with a young Tony Stark, he knew he was going to have the resources because he's a Stark. It's all his.
Yeah.
And he knew that he was his father's son and inherited the intelligence and the mind and the creativity. It's just a weird analysis to come out of Nick Fury.
Yeah.
That's what makes it weird.
True. Yeah. I guess where it's coming from, but yeah, that I know. So there's a lot to unpack in terms of timeline, which we'll get into. It's more the edit that I was reading because like he said your father said you were the only person with the means and knowledge, and then obviously, is there anyone else he possibly could have been talking about in this edit? I mean, right? Anton? Like, that Stark boy. I think he's the one who can really finish the work. My son Ivan, all he wants to do is get tattoos and run around and play with his whips. But this Tony Stark, now this boy.
My son has a wrong boy fascination.
He has obsession with tattoos, with whips, and with boys.
Oh my God.
And I'm turning Jewish now. I don't know all of a sudden. Hey, I'm Jackie Mason. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what happened.
You were all over the place.
I know. I'm like slowly moving west across Europe.
Oh, that's great. No, okay. So what is so the timeline here is weird.
It's weird.
Nick Fury and Howard is.
I guess let's assume that Nick knows what he's talking about. That all this stuff was true. Right. That he's so. He had. I don't know. It's unusual. I guess. Also, I guess, what is Nick's goal here? Like, Tony Stark's going to die. Like, he knows that like the poison, they have given him an antidote so they don't have to keep putting the makeup on poor Robert's neck, up his face or anything. But, like, what is Nick's goal in terms of Tony Stark right now?
Well, no, Nick's goal is to encourage him to fix himself so that he can be what they need him to be, which is a healthy, changed member of the team.
So this is all about like getting him to fix himself. Like, we're not here to fix you.
Well, we can't fix because we only know so much.
Song all of a sudden. We're not here to fix you.
I mean, we can well, wait until we get to the next minute. We can only, the reality is that, look, we can only do so much to help you. The rest has got to be you. And this isn't necessarily like a fatherly figure of advice. This is no, we seriously have, we know that the answer's out there. We know you're the only one who can figure it out. Get to it.
Stop messing around. Go be smart.
Exactly. Stop messing around with the way you're messing around.
Yeah.
Because there is hope in this. You got to figure it out.
Like you said, he's got other problems that he's dealing with. He's not, Tony Stark's not number one on the list. Like, you die. Okay. It sucked, but I got other stuff I got to do.
Well, and it's not even, it's the idea that, my God, you shouldn't be the problem. You're actually part of the solution if you'd only get out of your own head.
Yeah.
Stop messing us up because we've got stuff to worry about and you should not be one of those things.
Yeah. I mean, Hank Pym is still out there.
Yes.
Let's not forget. Right? He's just chilling in his house, working on his experiments.
Oh my God! I totally forgot.
I'm just thinking. I've been thinking about the founders of S.H.I.E.L.D. because that was what we're going to learn about. But so that's virtually where minute 68 comes to an end in the middle of this this conversation that they are having. A lot of exposition has been exposited here, but
good stuff though. But great conversation.
True, yeah. And the exposition is not done yet. There's more expositioning to be done.
So you know what? As we think about this little interchange here between Nick Fury and Tony Stark, if you asked each one of them to rate Howard Stark as a person and father, Tony might only be like a star, maybe half a star. Nick Fury, on the other hand, 5 stars.
Oh, I like 5 stars.
Yeah, well, yeah. Now think about this. Just take Nick Fury's view of this podcast. Go on to the place of your choosing that you like to listen to us. Go ahead and give us the same love that Nick Fury has for Howard Stark. We would really appreciate 5-star rating.
Oh yeah, and you can do it in any one of the podcatchers you like. We're not sending you to iTunes. We're not sending you to Google Podcasts or to Pocket Cast, wherever you get your podcast, even Spotify.
Sure.
The more reviews they have, the more high profile we get, and we can share our madness with the rest of the world.
And we will thank you for it.
And we will. Well, thank you for it, because I'd say we did a big fan shout out at the end of last season. So if there's enough stuff, we can do it again.
Yes,
you too can mention on Marvel Movie Minute. Wouldn't you like to hear your name coming out of our mouths?
Leave it at that. Just leave it at that.
So we'll be back here for minute 69 as we get into the hidden history of Nick Fury and what it means to the future of the MCU by looking at the past. Ooh. Nice. You do not want to miss it. Enough said.
Bye.